We'll go through their claims, their accusation. They have receipts. I'm not plugged in enough to the UK to know which MP she is talking about. So, you might be aware, Tories didn't do too good on the 4th, as was expected. Following that, Lisa Wade identified that a person she's allegedly a victim of lost their seat, and it's her time to strike. She said on Twitter, "Now that the MP concerned has lost his seat, it's time for me to say my piece." Is this going to be a rhyme? Dr. Seuss harassment accusation. In 2017, it's very important, okay, that if a representative of the people is a creep and a predator, you not let anyone know while they're in a position of influence. Now that the MP concerned has lost his seat, it's time for me to say my piece. Late at night, and to the east, he bent me over, tasted my yeast. No, in 2017, a then Tory MP repeatedly sexually harassed me after I approached him for help following a violent rape at the hands of another parliamentary employee. I wanted his help to connect me with those who might be able to take action to safeguard others from the man who attacked me, who was still working on the parliamentary estate. Here I'd told him my rapist had just been charged and that I was terrified of the pending trial. Instead of acknowledging the difficult and somber nature of that, he asks me if I'm single. Indeed, the prospect of it will hold things together, though, and messaging and time may do for McDonnell et al. How are you feeling? Bit hard to say. Glad the CPS have done their job, but terrified of the trial. Crown prosecution, by the way. And you are single now. Difficult. I trust you have good friends. I'm sort of seeing someone still, but not sure where that is. The worst thing has been that most of the people I called friends want nothing to do with me after I went to the police. Sort of. This is cringe. This is reminiscent of, remember when Lex Updog was talking about, I believe it was Jim, who on the couch, she told about her abuse at the hands of the big boy. And then Jim was like, "Can I kiss you? Hey, my rapist is being brought to justice. Oh, are you single? Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Have we hit sexual harassment yet? No. Is it improper? Would I ever be like, hey, are you single? No. Certainly not in this way. I might ask, like, do you have someone? Or maybe if I was aware of how relationships would go and be like, are you alone? To be like, are you lacking support? Not, oh, can I get in there? This is sounding like he wants to get in there. Are you alone would be way worse. I don't mean literally just say, are you alone now? Don't say it like that, but just say, do you have much support? Do you have people around you? Sort of thing. You know? This seems pretty clearly to be about what's your relationship status? I'm interested. Kinda creepoid. But again, this is the kind of thing where this alone isn't like a devastating attack. And I think most people would know. Most people would be aware that this is a flag of someone lacking tact and might not be the sort of person you want to be with. And you just be like, hey, I'm not going to talk to this guy anymore. Or whatever. Here, I'd asked for a meeting with him to discuss how I could best safeguard others from my rapist, and who to speak to about ensuring more robust safeguarding procedures are put in place on the parliamentary estate. Instead, he turns this into something insalubrious. Right. Hi, been in house late. The way of things to come, hope you are well. Would love to meet, of course, but have to be mindful of what we discussed, although I am completely discreet and upfront with you. I know how your previous experience with being gossiped about will have impacted. Yes, I have no intention of disrupting my own life or anyone else's any further. It is simply because I'm determined to try and make headway on a certain issue and would like an opinion on how best to go about it. Can't pretend I am not a little disappointed, of course. And it just gets worse. So far, I'd say tactless, unprofessional, maybe even inappropriate, criminal, dangerous, harassment? Maybe we'll get there. One of those, should have, could have. Nearly bought the top Trumps brand in the 90s. It was going for $50K. Now the question was, if we went for drinks, dinner, etc., what would you like to happen? Don't worry, I am not playing games here or messing with you. What's before this? Are top trumps still going? They were in vogue fairly recently, but aren't as popular as they once were. I'm good with just drinks, dinner, and conversation. Perhaps things will get super horrible later, not to victim blame, as she herself seems to be aware, intensely clear that this guy is trying to pursue her. Pretty explicitly clear. Maybe you want to not use this guy as your vector for spreading the shielding power over the other employees, protecting them from a rapist. Maybe this is not the guy to go through to do that. Maybe this is not the guy. I'm good with just drinks, dinner, and conversation. The person who attacked me made sure my name was Mud in Westminster. I really don't want to be in that position ever again. I don't like being talked about. I'm still convinced he was the reason I never got a... The reason I'd contacted this person was that he'd previously interviewed me for a job. Here he mentions the outfit I'd been wearing. Yeah, he's flirting. Unprofessional, inappropriate. Kinda gross when you're talking about being raped and protecting people from a rapist. Yeah. I don't understand continuing to see this guy as your path to protecting people, though. Obviously not the guy you want to be dealing with. Chamber's okay, but don't spend long there. That's an image I remember when you came in for your interview. That was a boiling day and you had quite an outfit on. Do you remember? Oh, it was pre-boat party, I believe. Lesson learned, I now avoid boat parties and free bars. Well, I wasn't complaining, Lisa. And fact I remember shows something. Nah. I hate this guy, but again, still not seeing the, it's fire. He's a danger, people need protection. How do I describe the tone? Who do I compare it to? Fact I remember shows something. Perhaps he's a guy who's used to being able to lead women to conclusions he wants. Yes, it does. It does mean something, doesn't it? You're really enthralled by me, aren't you? Horrible Riz. Anyway, this is just a select... These are the big hitters? Okay. Did Tim explain what an MP is? An MP is a member of parliament. An elected representative for a particular constituency. Anyway, this is just a selection. I have plenty of other messages that all convey one simple and indisputable fact. This was a Tory MP sexually harassing a rape victim. No, being unprofessional, cringe, inappropriate. Many things. I'm not vibing with sexual harassment. Many negative things you could call this. Sexual harassment. Not seeing it. It would later emerge that I was not the only woman to have been harassed by this man. In fact, at least 10 different women came forward with complaints about his behavior. Okay. The behavior can be improper, unprofessional, unbefitting of his position, whatever, so on and so forth. It doesn't have to be sexual harassment to be inappropriate and something that he shouldn't be doing. Surprise, surprise, it emerged in 2023 that the Conservative Party had known for years of multiple allegations concerning this man. Yet he was only suspended when police involvement concerning one of the most serious was reported in the press. Wait, so do we know who this is? The Conservative Party has a problem with sexual predators. Since 2019, at least 10 MPs have faced allegations of serious sexual misconduct. Now this sounds like you're trying to write an article. One was convicted of sexual assault, 3 have been subject to police investigation on suspicion of rape. Okay, I made this public now because I want to see changes that would protect other women from similar situations. I was driven out of politics as a 20-something for daring to speak up about the endemic levels of sexual abuse and harassment that women experience. The perpetrators were allowed to continue unimpeded. That's the opposite of how it should be. You waited for him to be voted out in this instance. Is this not an indictment of yourself? Am I confused? Am I being stupid? Don't say yes. I found out that this man has been accused of rape and sexual assault from the front page of the Daily Mail. Nadine Dorris. It's Doris, right? It's not Dories. Included lurid details of some of the other allegations against him in her book, The Plot. I looked that up and there's no name. I'm presuming there's some reason they're not being named. Perhaps people more plugged in are aware. Up to that point, I knew there were many other allegations against him, but I had no idea how serious they were. Instead of doing something about his conduct, Nadine ensured that they were sensationalized over the front page of a national newspaper. For profit. You waited until he was out of a position of power. I must be confused. Another example. Inviting me to have a drink near his hotel late at night. Notice I am, gently but firmly, declining. In hindsight, I didn't want to be rude or offend this person because of the position of power he occupied. I'm at home at the moment, have been waiting for them to fit a new kitchen door, which has taken all day. Working from home. I was going to be free in 45 and thought about a drink in Waterloo area near my hotel. Sadly, I'm stuck preparing for a meeting in Wales tomorrow. If it was any other day, that would have been great. Boss is expecting me to pitch a system build to a team of health board execs. Shame, but very late notice. I wasn't planning to make you miss your morning meeting. Another time, I hope. What's the problem here? She declined. He respected it. Hey, his position of power meant instead of just writing the N-word 10 times in response, I was polite and cordial in turning him down. This is what abuse of power looks like. And on another day, he tried yet again to get me to meet him late at night. Sure, here's the thing though. You told him that day, if it was any other day, that would have been great. You told... Sure, I agree. He's a weirdo, acting inappropriately for his position, so on and so forth. You told him any other day would have been great. I'd love to, any other day. So another day he asks you again. And on another day he tried, yet again, to get me to meet him late at night. Once again, I'm declining firmly and hoping he takes the hint. Any other day would have been amazing. Hope he gets the hint that I don't want to do this another day. Are you stupid? It's good. If your political career was crippled, good. You have no spine. Once again, I'm declining firmly and hoping he takes the hint. What time do you finish today and tomorrow? I'm off work today, waiting for a delivery. I finish tomorrow at 5:30. Okay, it's just that I have said I will now meet someone and give them a tour tomorrow evening, so I will be free later on. I have someone coming for dinner tonight, unfortunately. That's fine, it was very much on spec. Also, vote times are uncertain. I trust this is a date dinner. And look at how he tries to maneuver the topic around to my personal life. Yes. Yes, he's trying to flirt with you. And you're given the suggestion that you're open to it. Look at how he tries. In my mind, harassment can be like an extreme single instance, but normally that's, going to be assault or something. Could hypothetically be an extreme single instance, or it's a pattern of unwanted behavior. If you're telling someone, not tonight, but, any other night would be great, that person has no indication that their behavior is unwanted, and they're continuing to flirt. I don't think his initial question about whether you're single, although I think that's fucking weird. Someone's telling you they were raped and their rapist is being prosecuted, and you're feeling all sorts of ways about it, and then they're like, "Oh, are you single now?" Yeah, that's fucking weird. I would not do this. That would not be my window to get in. But is that such an extreme thing that it's objectively some sort of sexual harassment? No. And then given your response to it, is there any indication that it's actually unwanted? No. So he keeps mildly trying. And look at how he tries to maneuver the topic around to my personal life. Since I posted this, 2 people have messaged me to say they recognize the individual behind these messages because they have received similar. Both correctly named this man. This confirms what I've known for some time. That he is a prolific and well-known predator. I'm not seeing predatory behavior in these tweets, personally. Just a quick word to say, if you recognize who this is and have had a similar negative experience or experiences, please feel free to reach out. My DMs are open or my email is in my bio. Anything you say to me will be treated with the strictest confidence. Important to know extent of his terrible behavior. You know what? I'll be hyper charitable. Given the general impropriety, cringe, weirdness of the way he pursued you, it's possible he did something far worse to someone else. But no, maybe it is legally. I don't know. Would I judge it as such? Nah. Right. This lady has made other tweets separate this thread. She's responded to critiques of her statement. Made further points, I believe. Please report this person, she says. Is that a slur? I don't know what that is. Is that a slur? Let me check it before I say it. I've never heard that word before in my life. It appears to be purely a slur variation based on Urban Dictionary style websites. Mitch McConnell on Twitter with a display pic, I believe, of the roof Koreans, DM'd her and said, Who is going to sexually assault you when you look like an F? People's eyes are bleeding every time you walk next to them on the beach. Now, DMs are open. You put something like this out there on Twitter and say DMs are open? I'm going to look at this person's profile. This is Mitch McConnell's actual profile. Let's see what they tweet like. Here's an example of a Mitch McConnell tweet. He says, George Floyd is a bitch. 14 hours ago he posted that. What else do we have? You get that DM from this person, and then you look at their profile. I don't understand taking this seriously. I don't understand. Please report this person. They said something mean to me. Why do you care? Who the f are they? He mostly does a bunch of retweeting. He does not appear to like black people. Very serious person to receive a rude DM from. Roy Gabb said to her, what did you expect an MP to do? Organize 24-hour security? Roy, come on, mate. But then her response is, not try to sleep with me, is definitely up there if I'm honest, Roy. I'll say again, MP's behaviour, very cringe. Inappropriate even. Improper. She then said, following many of the responses, not pointing to one in particular, men do not get to define for women what sexual harassment is or is not. If your behavior/actions causes a woman to feel she's been sexually harassed, you have a serious problem. It's really, really easy to not sexually harass someone. Now, if no male-conceived definition of sexual harassment is valid, then it's nearly impossible not to. Or rather, it's impossible to be sure that you're not. If, as a man, you think, oh, that would be sexual harassment, you have to discard that thought, because you're not allowed to define it. Just a little logical consequence of what she said, but surely it depends on the behavior or the action itself. This shit is silly, and it's always been silly, and I thought this went away after, like, 2016. Faded away after 2016. Normally, the thing at the very least that gets progressive-minded people to drop it is, hey, white woman tears. You remember that? Oh, this black man made me feel scared, so I'm being harassed. He was standing on the bus. Oh no. She responds to shit and hides them. How do I unhide this shit? What the f***? What kind of dementoid responds to something they've hidden? Yes, how dare I feel sexually harassed? We have all sorts of senses. Proprioception, nociception, equilibrioception. We can feel pain, we can feel pressure. I don't have an organ for detecting sexual harassment. It's not a particular feeling I have that my brain can conjure. Sexual harassment is a pattern of behavior that can be objectively seen. What do you mean, feel sexually harassed? Feel uncomfortable from behavior that's inappropriate, for instance, right? Yeah, you do have an organ for detecting that. But, can she tell us? The one she responded to? None of it's porn, I think we're good. So the one she hid that she responded to, George said, we do need to agree on what sexual harassment is or is not. Objectivity. Then he had to become a f***ing fedora lord. Objectivity is paramount. Your feelings are your responsibility. Your feelings are relevant if the behavior itself crosses a line, such that a reasonable person would feel, you know, threatened, endangered, harassed. If you are saying, I feel harassed, from something ludicrous, like he says hello every morning and doesn't stop. Every morning he says fucking hello. I don't want it. For instance, would be ludicrous to call that harassment, right? In that scenario, it's not about feelings, and it can't just be about feelings. This guy had to go fedora lord, though, unfortunately. If all you have is feelings, then yes, they should have no responsibility for your feelings. Sure, a bit better. What else do we have that's hidden? Agwa Abo? Awo. Agba Awo. Quote tweeted her, thread starter, said, this caught my rapt attention as I'm trying to grapple with the extensive and limitless meaning of sexual harassment in Britain. I saw an ad in the tube that shocked me to my marrow. How do you safely initiate an innocent show of interest or attraction in this climate? I feel like their response is too general. She's talking about, okay, If you think it's not weird when a woman is coming to you and being like, oh, my rapist is being prosecuted right now. Finally charged, finally going to court. I don't know how I feel about this. This is weird. I need help. I think other people need to be protected from this sort of thing. And that's when you choose to start shooting your shot? No, that is weird as f. That's really weird. This point, this general point, there's a grain of truth. It applies in general, but MP had some weirdo riz. His position was relevant in this interaction. Did the MP get re-elected? No. And in fact, she says that it's time for her to say her piece because he lost his seat. Which, I'd say the most pressing time to do this, if you think it's really that terrible, is while they're in a position of influence. Ideally, perhaps to help guarantee that they don't stay. Strange. People would dismiss it, saying it's a hit piece or whatnot. Guess what, brother? They're doing it now. For the avoidance of doubt, it should be obvious that asking a rape victim if they're single when they've just disclosed their trauma and fears to you is beyond the realm of acceptability. You shouldn't be showing any sexual interest towards a person at such a vulnerable time. I wouldn't. I agree that's weird. Someone telling me about the rape they suffered and were a victim of, that doesn't put me in the mood, personally. However, what if you were into it? Would it have still been wrong? What if your response was, yeah, I'm single. I was actually wondering if you wanted to get coffee. Is it an action that is absolutely wrong? I think conceivably it could work out. Now, to me that's weird. Weird to me. As we can see, weird to Lisa as well. I don't think that's even unheard of. We have an instance of this happening. Lex Updog told Jim, whatever his name is, she told this guy about her alleged sexual assault, and then he asked if he could kiss her, and she said yes, and followed him around kissing him. What if they're into it, though? I think it's weird. I wouldn't do it. What if they're into it? Is that still sexual harassment? If they're into it, pursue a relationship with you, can you then retroactively say, ha, actually, that's always wrong, so even though I was into it, it's still sexual harassment? No. Johnny J. Rooster 77 said, this isn't sexual harassment. Lisa Wade says, oh, look, another man coming over to invalidate a woman's lived experiences. No, look. I believe that shit occurred. I don't think that constitutes sexual harassment. Almost every woman agrees with me that it very much is. Why? Like, on what basis? On what basis do they agree with it? The dissenters, big shock, are mostly men who likely have guilty consciences. I agree it's weird. I agree it's weird and inappropriate and improper even for an MP who's been pursued for help on the basis that they are an MP. I'm going to look at the hidden replies. Uh-oh. So, here's a fun one. You ready? Look, another man coming over to invalidate a woman's lived experiences. The dissenters, big shock, are mostly men. She hid one post on this. It's by Marla, a cis woman. I don't agree with you, Lisa. Big surprise, all of the posts you can see are by men, because I hid all the women. I'm sorry, but the messaging was not all on him. She literally told him that it would be great if he asked her out another time. And then she said, look, it's harassment, he asked me out another time. Yeah, schizoid. You really think it's acceptable to treat a rape victim like that? It's not to my taste. Is it objectively unacceptable? Would it always be wrong to? If she had been totally into it and gone along with it, and she didn't have a problem with anything. So, like, let's say she was totally receptive, and instead of lying to him, she was telling the truth about how she felt. And then a third party found those messages, and even though she was happy with it, would it be the case that what he did was wrong? Should he be in trouble for it if she was fully into it and was never upset with it? That's what this would mean. I don't think that's the case. So no, I don't think it's not ever acceptable. I can think of hypotheticals where it is. I can think of a real example of this occurring where it is, because the guy explicitly asked for consent and was given the affirmative. Jim and Lex Updog. The messages I haven't posted show graphic discussion of rape and details of my attacker. They show me begging for his help to protect others from that person. Okay. For those asking why I haven't spoken about this before today, I have frequently. Today is the first time I've posted his messages, however. Here's one example. And he offered to meet me to discuss my concerns. It was only after a friend saw his messages to me and oh my... Wait. What? You felt sexually harassed, but not in the moment. Believe women when they tell you they feel sexually harassed, even if they didn't at the time and then later have decided that they did. It was only after a friend saw his messages to me and warned me that I realized his motives may have been less than honorable. So, you're arguing that what should make an action sexual harassment is the way you feel. However, you did not feel bad about this and were fine about this when he sent you these messages. If you had never been convinced by a third party that it wasn't okay, would it still be wrong? If it would still be wrong, then surely it is a matter of the behavior itself being objectively wrong, and it's not about your feelings. Which one is it? You're telling us over here it was only after a friend saw the messages to you that you realized his motives may have been less than honorable. So you did not actually have negative feelings. Now you're saying all that matters is my feelings. So he didn't do anything wrong. What? As a result, I did not meet with him. Good move, correct move. Had I met him to discuss my rape as intended in 2017, I may have been in danger, unacceptable and upsetting. Your hypothetical, your fantasy, doesn't turn what is said into sexual harassment. Even if, had you met up with him, he would have literally nailed your arms to a table and then violently, brutally raped you, that doesn't make the preceding messages sexual harassment. I'd say the main thing that matters is that this guy's an MP. That's what leads it into a matter of some concern. The impropriety connected to his position as MP. He was contacted because he was an MP and to discuss things that he would deal with in his capacity as an MP and then behaved like that in that context. That's what makes it bad at all, in my opinion. To me, if he weren't an MP, tasteless, kind of like, ugh. Why would you use that as your in, but not? Can't believe I'm having to say this, but for avoidance of doubt to some men out there, if a woman confides in you that she's been raped, don't try to proposition her. Probably good general suggestion. Yes, I find it distasteful and weird. Is it sexual harassment? No. Could it even be wanted? Yes. Some women are weirdos, right? And they'd be fine with it, and then go and date that person. Especially if you're also a member of parliament. That's probably the most important thing. And she's come to you in a professional... That's what matters. Yes, it becomes improper, becomes inappropriate to a more significant degree because of that. That's the bit that matters. The content itself of what he said is not the worst thing in the world. It is not sexual harassment, but yes. Staggered by the number of responses I've had to my thread where these key points are being completely missed, mostly by men. It doesn't matter how polite or civil the woman in question is being. If someone solicits your help in trying to protect others on the parliamentary estate from a violent rapist, don't use it as a cue to hit on her. Yeah?